Hello everyone, my name is Inma and I'm an artist from Spain. Art is my full-time job and I would like to share some tips and tricks to start and finish an illustration using Clip Studio Paint. On this tutorial we will focus on the following: designing a character, working on the sketch of the actual illustration, adjusting the sketch so size and angle are correct before inking, Before we make an illustration, we need a character design. We can design the character on the illustration, but having a character sheet is very helpful in case we ever want to draw this character again. The first thing we need to do when designing a character is to decide the kind of character we want to make. Is it a cool character? Do I want them to look sweet or evil? For this purpose, we can write down 3 words that describe the kind of character we want to make. My character will be a girl, and I want her to be cute, cheerful, and to have a soft color scheme. Now that I have a concept, I'm going to design this character. So that I can work on the design faster, I'm going to use 3D models. Clip Studio Paint comes with male and female bodies by default, and you can download more from assets, including cool poses for them. My character is a girl, so I will use one of the default girl bodies. I drag and drop it into the canvas, and I adjust the size and angle using the icons that appear on top of the figure. I drag and drop it a second time, and turn it around so I also have a view from the back. I've also included links to tutorials on how to use the 3D figures in the description. Now I select both layers and I drag them into the folder icon to put them both into a folder. After that, I lower the opacity of the folder so that I can use the 3D figures as reference. I create a new layer on top and I start working on my character now using mapping pen. Don't worry too much about perfection on this stage, this is not the final illustration. I wanted a cheerful character, so I'm drawing her with a smile. It's time to decide on a hairstyle for her, so I will create 3 new layers, each for a different hairstyle. After I'm done, I will decide which one fits my character better. When I'm done with one hairstyle, I hide that layer using the eye icon next to the layer, and I create a new one to work on the other options. These are the 3 hairstyles I made for her. I think the one in the middle fits my idea best, so I will use that one. Now it's time to design her clothes. I will make 2 different versions and keep the one I like best for her. Because I have the 3D model underneath, I don't need to worry about proportions. I can focus on her design. Just like before, after I'm done with the first design, I hide the layer and I work on the second one. These are the 2 designs I came up with for her. Both fit the cute concept, but the second one feels more cheerful, so I'm going to keep that one. Now that I have decided which one I like, it's time to work on the back view. Now that we are done, it's time to decide her color scheme. I will create new layers under the current line art to color the character very roughly. Because I used white to remove parts of the line art, I need to put all the line art layers into a folder and set the blending mode of the folder to multiply. I start by using a random color that I find easy to see. After I'm done painting an element, I will go to the Edit menu and use the Convert to Drawing Color command. This will turn everything on that layer into the new color I have selected. Another way of editing colors is by going to the Edit menu and using the tonal correction commands. The Hue, Saturation, Luminosity command allows me to preview different colors and makes it easier to decide on one. I will follow the same process for the rest of the elements. As I work on her color scheme, I can go back and change colors that don't fit anymore. Renaming layers makes it easier to find the layer that you want. After I'm done with the color scheme, I like to create a new layer for quick access to each color. I will pick each color using the eyedropper tool, and I will draw a circle next to the character. Because many of these colors are very light, I use the border effect function on the layer property palette. The edge of color is white by default, but you can turn it to black or any other color you like. I've included a link to one of our how-to videos that cover this in the description. Once I'm done with the character design, I save the image as PNG so that no quality is lost. There is a subview palette on Clip Studio Paint that is very useful for loading character design sheets. If you don't have it activated by default, you can activate it on the window menu. I click on the little folder at the bottom of the subview palette, and I load my character sheet. Now, no matter what tool I'm using, it is switched to the eyedropper when I select anything inside that palette. Make sure you turn this function on in the palette menu, or by clicking the eyedropper icon at the bottom right. It is time to start the illustration. I will create a new canvas and make it 20 cm on each side. For color illustrations, a resolution of 300 dpi is enough, but I like to make it 350 for better quality. I like to have my sketches on some color that's not black, so I put the current layer into a folder and I make sure that the folder's blending mode is set to normal. I click on the folder, not the layer, and I click on the Change Layer Color icon at the top of the layer palette. By default, everything will turn blue, but you can make it any other color on the Layer Property palette. Now I can create tons of new layers inside that folder, and everything will be red and white. You can activate or deactivate the color function anytime. The first thing I do now is to make a very rough draft of the illustration. I like to do this zooming out a lot so that I can easily see the whole picture. Using stick figures for arms and legs helps create more dynamic poses. After I'm done, I lower the opacity of that layer and I create a new layer on top to work on the actual sketch. You can rotate the canvas using the functions at the bottom of the canvas palette. I use the flip horizontal command a lot to find mistakes on my sketch. This function should be available on the command bar, but if it's not there, you can enable it by going to the File menu, Command Bar Settings, find it under the View menus Rotate, Invert, and click on Add to add it to your current command bar. You can do this with any other functions you use a lot so that you have quick access to them. It's like a shortcut. Now I keep working on the sketch. When there is something off, I can use the selection tool to edit that part alone. For example, if I place the mouth too low. I made the head too big and it's not going to fit the canvas, so I select all the layers where parts of the head have been drawn and I click on the Scale Rotate command. I have it on my command bar, but you can also find it under Transform on the Edit menu. Before adding the clothes, I draw the silhouette of the body. This will help you keep proportions, and it will be easier to draw clothes if you know what's under them. I select all the layers inside the sketch folder and use the scale rotate function to adjust the angle and position of the sketch on the canvas. Now I can start drawing the clothes. I have the design available on the subview palette, so I know what she's meant to look like all the time. When I'm sketching, I create tons and tons of layers, so that if I don't like any new addition, I can always hide that layer and go back to a previous version. Don't be scared to create as many layers as you need. Now I'm going to change the sketch a bit by using the free transform command. You can find it under transform on the edit menu, or you can put it into your command bar for quick access. To apply this function, I have all the layers selected. The free transform function is often used to create a perspective effect on surfaces, like a wall or the floor. But here I'm using it to enlarge the bottom part of the sketch because her head was a bit too big. After I'm done, I move the sketch around until it's on the right placement. And with this, I'm done for now. Once I'm done with a sketch, if possible, I try not to ink it on the same day. This is because when you work on a drawing, your eyes become so used to what you're looking at that you might not realize some mistakes. If you put the sketch aside and wait until the next day, you might realize mistakes that you didn't see before, and you will be able to fix them before inking. On the next video from this series, I will continue working on this illustration, and I will give you new tips and tricks that I hope you will find useful. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye!